Offensively, that was the best game we played up to date. I felt like, we were explosive. We really had 10 explosives with the penalty called, with St. Brown running the dagger. You know, um, I thought Goff made some critical throws. Our receivers really showed up, not only in the pass game, but the run game. We wanted to be physical, and those guys on the perimeter did. That's why we had explosive runs. But ultimately, man, this offensive line, those five up front, really set the tone. We needed them to. They're the engine under the hood, man. They make it go, and we had a checklist of things, and man, we checked every box. Those guys showed up. Defensively, at the end of the day, the positive was we got the one takeaway that changed the game. We won by a possession, and that was defensively. We ended up +1 in the turnover ratio. That was huge. We got pressure in his face with Alex, and Kirby comes away with a big interception, and that proved to be the difference in the game. Nobody knew it would be in the first quarter, but it was. So there's a couple of things, obviously, we need to clean up there, but, man, I thought we played physical on defense, and we were really good in third and shorts. We could have had a historic stand down there on the goal line. Stopped them 6 times, and then the seventh one was really a miscommunication on our part, so we did that to ourselves. And special teams, there wasn't a lot of opportunities on special teams. We had one on a return where we almost got Leaf out of there. But all in all, man, we did what we had to do, like I said. And, the old line, St. Brown, David, Gibbs, Brock Wright, Leaf, and Reynolds. Josh Reynolds really had big games for us defensively. I thought Alex played really well, and Benito did some good things. And then, Riley Patterson, what a huge kick, just stepped up there and delivered. And then the execution overall, McQuaid comes right in. We didn't miss a beat. And Fox has gotten so much better with his holds. He's really grown, and those things get overlooked. Unless you mess something up, you don't even think about it, and that's a good sign. We're not even talking about them, but they're a huge part of the field goal pro. So anyway, it's a good win. We found a way.
Have you guys heard from Next Gen yet on the miles per hour that Ben got when he was running down the sideline there on the Leafs?
Somebody sent me that, by the way, yesterday, and I didn't realize he was running down. I think he ran right in front of me. I didn't even know it. He was moving. He was pretty excited. He can still run pretty good. That's the other thing, by the way. I thought Ben called a hell of a game. My gosh. I just felt like he was 2 steps ahead, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to call a better game than he did offensively. I was really proud of him. It was great.
You talked about the running game a little bit yesterday and just kind of it being, what you guys had envisioned all along. When you put this thing together, why was it important for you to have 2 backs like the 2 you have now? 2 of them and with the skill sets.
Well, number one, I think it's hard to just totally rely on one back. All right, that's a hard position. Those are hard miles that you put on a guy, and to expect 65 plays a game for 17 games plus the playoffs, that's not, that's hard. But if you can share the load, and no different than anybody else on our offense, when you have different skill sets and they're able to do different things, they excel at certain things a little bit better. I think it just gives you more versatility, and it gives you a better chance for matchups that you want. So. Man, they're playing at a high level. David, was great having him back. He really showed up, man. And Gibbs just continues to get better and better.
You have a better sense of what went wrong defensively in that last 2.5 quarters. Was there anything that you can put your fingers on?
Honestly, it was really there. There was a lack of communication in some areas. We weren't real clean, and we really got to get to where, even if it's the wrong call, it's right if we're all on the same page. And, there's a couple of these things with the motions. How are we treating this motion entirely because of the nature of it? But there's just a few things where, man, we need to make a call and live by the call and not try to live in 2 worlds. That showed up a little bit. The no huddle wasn't necessarily stressful. However, it was enough to where we felt like, it unraveled us a little bit on defense in some of our looks. And so we just got to disguise a little bit better. And ultimately, look, Herbert, that was one of the best games he's played all season, I felt like, too. He played at a high level. 13, we struggled to stop him. He was, and we knew that going into the game. He's a heck of a player, but listen, they did a good job of finding some matchups. They were able to see the looks, get to the best play available, and so look, you live, you learn, you move on, and we'll be better. We'll move on from this.
You talk about that calm on the field defensively. Like Goff can bring that on offense right in the huddle. Who is it defensively, or does it come from the sideline, or everyone, or what's? I don't know. Where can you find that? I guess.
Yeah, look, I think that at some point, Alex has been pretty much a staple for us there. He's a guy that they really lean on to make a call, but we also need it on the back end, consistency in the back end, making a call and living by it, and I think that's where we can really get better, if you will. And that's the first time we faced a significant amount of that type of offense with a quarterback that's really good and played at a very high level yesterday. So, listen, it was a good job by them. That was a good plan that they had. I'll be the first to say that. I mean, that was good. But we'll learn from this, and we got to be better. We will, though. I know we'll respond back from this.
You mentioned the blocking by the wide receivers. We've seen that from Saint since he's gotten here, but Jamo now a couple times this year has helped spring big runs. Is that just contagious sometimes when you see one guy do it and it's part of his game like Saint, the other guys want to make it part of their game too and show that they can do it?
Yes, I believe it is. I believe that's the standard in the room, though, as well. I mean, that all of those guys are that way. I can tell you all three of them, between Saint, Leaf, and Reynolds, is where it all starts. And Jamo is just, man, he's part of it. And look, he's never been shy about hitting somebody and trying to in the run game. You saw that in college. So I think that's the standard here. I say it all the time. You want you want to be known as a physical team. Your receivers have to block in the run game, and your corners have to tackle on defense, and we do that. We do that here. So I think it's a rite of passage, and they showed up. They showed up big. We talked about not only making your plays in the pass game, executing, being productive, but, man, we wanted physical dominance from the perimeter, and I thought all those receivers really showed up.
As we get deeper and deeper into the season, any more concerns regarding the pass rush? Is there anything schematically that maybe needs to be looked at to kind of generate a little bit more of a pass rush?
Yeah, look, I go back to some of this is we got to really hone in on our technique, with where we're at. We've got a lot of things that are schemed up that we can be better at. The execution of it, we had a number of different pressures and games that we had lined up in the second down, third down, that we just weren't getting there fast enough. And it was, we talk about it all the time, the rush into coverage, and it was, we're covering pretty good, and then, man, we're just not quite getting there. And so, 13, we got him doubled. Well, he's able to run through the double because we're not getting there fast enough. And then on the flip side, we're getting there, but we're not tight enough in coverage. So we just got to get them to mirror up, and we got to keep working our technique, man. We got to win our one-on-ones when they show up front, and really, even in the back end too. When those times present themselves, we have to win a one-on-one. And certainly more than we did yesterday, and it's something we've been pretty good at. We played, we bounced back, played pretty good against the Raiders, played damn good. So we'll bounce back from this, and we'll get it right.
Just the big picture view of getting a win like that. It's a long trip. It's an exhausting game. Wasn't much separation. You're back in the building with another victory. Just what it means to this team to move forward with that.
Yeah, it was, you come off the bye, you want to know that you hadn't lost your mojo, and or that it would take a little bit to get it back. And I felt like, when you win coming off the bye on the road, long trip, especially that type of game, that was big. And we feel like, all right, man, we got our flow back here a little bit, found a way to win, and now we improve from here, So I felt like there again, the offense took a step up, and defensively we took a step back, but I know that we're about to take 3 steps up again. I believe that, and AG's going to get this thing right. And those guys defensively, I mean, I could see it on their face. That's why you don't want anybody disappointed. A win is a win. But those guys on defense, every one of them last night was, they were frustrated and pissed off. And that's kind of what you want. But you want them to enjoy the victory. And at any given time, like honestly, if we don't win that game, to me, I put that on the offense. That's where the game was going. You got to outscore that opponent, and they did that, man. Our guys stepped up. Man, a lot of critical plays at the end of that game. Golf, those two plays at the end of the game were as big as they get. The throw to St. Brown and then to come back and work through his progression. Back to Laporte, who made a big catch. I mean, that's big time, man. You talk about making crucial plays. They did that. Composure was awesome.
You mentioned Brock Wright earlier. I know I asked you about the play yesterday. He came up last year. He had that big touchdown catch. He had the one yesterday. What is it about him that allows him to sort of, people kind of forget about him, right? He's doing some of the dirty work things, and then all of a sudden, boom, he explodes and makes that big play.
Let's talk about invest in reliability, right? He's an investment because this guy is as reliable as they get. And you're right. He just sometimes he just flies under the radar because he does all the dirty work nobody ever really sees. But man, he showed up in the run game yesterday. He had a couple of protections on the backside we talked about. You mentioned them. Hey, if they just happen to bring this, you need to stay in and block it. He did that. He didn't miss a beat. And you only have to tell him something once. And then, man, here's your one opportunity, right, on the pop pass. And the worst thing that could happen, this defender kind of loops out. He was able to maneuver through it, set his angle, and man, he's just a steady, reliable piece for us. There's a lot of trust. I can tell you between the coaches and his teammates, there's a tremendous amount of trust with that player. They know he's going to do his job.
You explained your decision-making yesterday, but when it comes to making those calls, do you think it's more of you're leaning on your instincts as a coach, or do you think it's really the confidence that you have in your people that kind of drive those choices?
Yeah, I think it's both. I mean, I think that's where I felt like the game was going. I knew I wanted to be aggressive in this game anyway, going in, and then I felt like that's with where we were at in that game. It felt like the right decision. And there again, man, our offense was playing at a high level. Our offensive line was, I mean, there was the pass rush was nil because of those guys up front, and golf was in a rhythm, and I just felt really good about it, and ultimately those guys executed. They made the play, man. I was proud of them. We're all proud of them. It's a way to step up.
I was just going to ask, lastly, on that 75-yard touchdown run by Montgomery, and Ross St. Brown explained that he wasn't actually supposed to be on the field. Did you know that before, during, or after? Or what was your reaction to the way that one played out?
Yeah, immediately. But we didn't. But it's also like, okay, we're good. We got this personnel group out. Ben immediately got to the next play and gave it to Goff. We roll, and it was a play that was sound for the personnel group we had in there. You don't think it's going to go 75 necessarily, but it's also St. Brown did a great job on the backside of that. They put the defensive end outside of him. He kept it capped. The all line just surged, and then Montgomery did the rest with the blocking. So. No, and I think that's a sign of a good team too. Sometimes, believe it or not, coaches mess something up every once in a while. And they made it right. The players made it right, and it's a sign of a good team.
Thank you.
Thank you.